Hi, this is Conrad Zimmerman of FistShark Marketing. If you're a fan of the show, we hope you'll help support it with a small monthly contribution through Patreon. For less than the price of a dangerous drug or alcohol addiction, you can help us to keep demonstrating what rock bottom really looks like. Just visit patreon.com/FistShark or click the big Patreon button at fistshark.com for more details. And thanks for listening. Okay, so I guess that wraps up the rest of the quarterly report, and so I think we can get most of these expenses past the board, and no one's going to notice. You guys are hearing that, right? I'm not alone in this.
Oh, no, it's flared up again.
What is that noise? I didn't really care. You know, that's a sort of, you hear a background sort of moaning, haunted screams kind of thing, and, you know, you think nothing of it.
Well, we work for a firm that regularly has Dean Cain visiting, so tortured screams and moans it's not alien to us.
Right, you know, but after a point...
I mean, after a few weeks, it's getting hard to put up with.
Yeah, it's getting louder, too, I think, right? It's not just me.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it started, I don't know if you've seen it, but in the break room, there's a small crack, or it was small, there's a crack, kind of glowing red, with a kind of pulsing light. That's where I believe it originated from, and it really was just a dull murmur, just a bit of a like that. After a week or two, as the crack got bigger, like just eldritch hissing, squeals, that kind of thing.
I see. I just thought the coffee maker was on the fritz again, and that's why that was making all that hissing.
No. That hissing seems to more closely resemble the tortured souls of the damned rather than a coffee machine on the fritz. It's a tough call, but...
Well, I mean, you can see how I could be confused between the two.
Oh,
I mean...
Yeah. Personally, I thought it was James Spader acting up, because I have heard that he likes to hide in cracks in walls.
Oh, I did not know that about him. What for what reason?
Says they're comfortable.
Well, I don't know if I don't know if the crack in the break room is probably the place to... Honestly, I'm not entirely sure that it can
don't go in there.
I don't think I could. It really seems more like it's like there's a pressure coming out of it, you know? Like, I got a little closer to it than I probably should have, because I was trying to get into the fridge to take Craig's lunch. And it was like it was actively pushing me away, like some sort of force field emanating from it.
You can't get near the fridge now. There's very much a kind of, almost like a conical spread of what I would call influence that the crack has kind of formed. It wasn't there at first. Back when the crack was sort of big enough to get Craig's foot in, I was able to get Craig's foot in, and that came back wrong.
Just wrong? Like...
It's a wrong foot that he has now.
Extra toes, or...
It's just wrong.
Well, it certainly hasn't impeded his walking.
No, he's actually walking a bit faster now. And, to be honest, I mean, the sulphurous gas coming from his shoes is an improvement over the way Craig normally smells.
You know, I have noticed some strange things coming out of that crack. Some weird, meat hooks the other day I was stepping on. I don't even go into the break room anymore.
It's not worth going in there, to be honest. Things are definitely trying to come out, which is annoying, because we don't have a lease for pets in this office space. So if any, animals claw their way into the break room, then we're looking at a fine.
I mean, I don't know if I would call them animals. I mean, they certainly bear animalistic characteristics. Like, there are traits that one could associate with an animal, with what these things seem to be, but I couldn't actually identify what they are. There's, when I try to think about them, there's just this sort of inky blackness and a depth of despair and horror that washes over any sense of detail I have about the experience of encountering one.
That is the weird thing. If you try and look into the crack and see things that are in there, like, there's something in there that I call the goat boy, you really can't remember details after you've had a look. It's not helped by the fact that I can only look in now through the small circular window in the break room door and just sort of peer in through the window and have a look where everything's glowing red. To be honest, the crack is bigger, louder, and more full of evil than I initially thought when we started having this conversation.
Well, you see a small crack emanating evil. I mean, it's a small crack emanating evil. What's the big deal? Small cracks that emanate evil are everywhere. I mean, it's just part of the fabric of society.
Val Kilmer's got one.
Right, exactly. Val Kilmer has 5, so I'm led to understand. But so you don't pay it any mind. But gosh, you let something like that go long enough, it could really become an issue.
Yeah, like I honestly, talking about it now and thinking back on it, it is bad.
I mean, should we do something about it?
We can hire some contractors to come in and, I don't know, look at it.
I can have a word with Balthazar and the boys downstairs. They've got some experience with this kind of stuff. I don't think it's them, because I've seen the one big spider leg that comes out sometimes and just helps itself to some coffee mate in the fridge. And I know they don't truck with spiders.
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily thinking this was them. They try to keep their horrible portals to evil dimensions downstairs in the basement.
Like I said, they got a license for it.
Yeah, that's fine. They have a registered locale that they can perform that kind of work. But this break room thing has,
I don't want, to be brought up in front of the local ombudsman trying to explain why we've got a hellhole in the break room.
Right, yeah. No, I think, but I mean, it does, I don't want this to cost a lot. Do you think we could just, put some new drywall up and take care of this?
Yeah.
I don't see why not.
Yeah. We'll get Craig. We'll take all his clothes off, just because I think it'd be funny to watch him do it naked, and get him to maybe try and just push things into the crack, just try and fill it up, and then just paste over it.
Yeah, that ought to be fine.
The leg's coming out again.
Yeah, we should lock that break room door.
Can we get Craig to run out and get some more coffee mate?
Coffee mate and many, many heavy chains.
All right, you guys, we have to do something about our script office. It's just overflowing at this point. Our cleaning people can't keep up with it. We have to put an end to the Ghostbuster script submissions. I hate to say it. I know we've gotten a lot of gold and a lot of not so golden opportunities there, but we either have to move into a bigger office or we have to tell people to stop submitting scripts.
Well, the whole thing has just gotten completely out of hand. I thought it was a great idea when the second Ghostbusters remake was announced, and, there was going to be, the all-male cast, and that, I mean, it just made sense. It just made sense to me to try and double your money and put out 2 Ghostbusters. And it only stood to reason that the third Ghostbusters reboot that was going to be comprised entirely out of digitally implemented apes, I thought that was going to be great.
Monkey Ghostbusters was going to be good.
Monkey Ghostbusters was going to be good. And I thought, hey, triple the money. Awesome. But then as it kept going and we started getting more and more insistence from various sectors of the consumer audience demanding more and different Ghostbusting teams.
Well, it was a slippery slope. You see, once Sony caved to the minority male demographic that wanted male Ghostbusters, which
whatever,
it struck me as odd. But okay, fine. 2 films, double your money, like you said. It just started an avalanche, Then we had Peter saying, well, what about the monkeys? Why can't monkeys bust ghosts? It makes them feel just as good. So they put out the Monkey Busters. Then it got a bit wacky. Horsebusters. Hooves can't manipulate any kind of ghost-busting machinery.
I mean, well, the ghost trap. They can do the trap.
Well, yeah.
All you have to do with the trap is kick it out and step on the thing.
A chicken could do a trap, as we found out when they started filming Chicken Busters.
Right. Yeah, it's a simple peck. Actually, I gotta admit, the way they wrote the scene where they trap the first ghost, and it's just all, they really presented it in a dramatic fashion with that slow motion run of the chicken Venkman, and then sliding forward and pecking down to hit it. I mean, that worked for me. But
I mean, the impressive nature of watching two chickens cross their strains is kind of ruined when there's a second Ghostbusters remake starring an all-chicken Ghostbusters.
Well, now, it's Rooster Busters and Hen Busters. They're two totally different situations.
All right, but explain...
Two different audiences.
Explain the 5 different snake ones.
Well, you got your copperheads, you got your garden snakes, your coral snakes, and then that one...
Can't forget rattlesnakes.
And then there's the Leviathan, which, I mean, technically not a snake.
It is, that's more something from fiction, isn't it?
Where it got weird was the all-Hydra Ghostbusters.
Don't get me started on Cthulhu Busters.
Really, the whole mythological end, I feel we could do without. We don't need minotaurs, we don't need centaurs. We certainly don't need a fucking manticore.
So, yeah, the manticore, that was just... I mean, attaching the neutrino wand to the scorpion tail was kind of an inspired stroke of genius, I thought, but even still...
The trouble is, there's nowhere for the proton pack to go after that point. That just flails around behind the tail.
Yeah, it's just beyond the bounds of reason, and I'm with you. We can probably scrap the entire mythological segment. The one that they wanted to do entirely out of the Roman gods. I mean, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, that's silly.
There are so few Romans watching movies now.
They clearly ain't afraid of no ghosts. So, where's the challenge there? That was a really bad script.
I mean, how many have we got, and how many of these are actually responding to audience feedback? Because I can't imagine more than 15 people in America want to see 4 windows busting ghosts.
The thing about the window busters that I thought was interesting is that the script called for them to only fight bird ghosts.
I mean, it's just getting too specific. We don't need an all-pog ghost-busting team. We don't need an all skeleton warriors toys from the 90s ghost-busting team. We don't need 4 little tiny blades of grass with little tiny proton packs as adorbs as that was.
No.
Skies! 4 skies! Different skies! There's only one sky that we have. How do you even represent that on a screen? The script doesn't say. It just says there are 4 different skies. They're all blue. No, you can't even differentiate.
I mean,
which one's the Egon?
I appreciate that we're trying to do something different here, but we really need to stop going meta as well. I mean, Ghostbusters, that's just insensitive.
That was stupid. That was honestly stupid.
The team of all albino Ghostbusters, I thought was, I mean, it could work. It could certainly make things creepier. Because normally the ghosts are supposed to provide the sort of semi-horror tension, and the Ghostbusters are comic relief. But let me tell you, those lines are not going to be delivered in as upbeat a manner from an albino.
Very true, very true. And talking of things that aren't upbeat, we could do without the Ghostbusters that are also on the side Ukrainian assassins. The Ghostbusters that are part-time tax attorneys, that one was very dry. The Ghostbusters that are part-time Ghostbusters, that was ridiculous.
They're basically just collecting overtime. I mean, that was it. That was the whole thing. They're just working an 18-hour day and getting overtime.
Yeah, not even in a different city. It's all in New York.
Now, I do appreciate the tie-in Ghostbusters. I mean, the Avengers Ghostbusters, there's some money to be made there, as well as the striptease Ghostbusters. I mean, that kind of speaks for itself.
Burlesque Busters, I think, is going to do very, very well.
I think some of the spin-offs we can do, some of them I think are maybe reaching a bit. I don't think there's much of an audience for Sweet Valley Ghostbusters.
No.
Nor do I think that Are You Afraid of the Ghostbusters works, mostly because they're supposed to be the ones we're not afraid of.
Yeah, I mean, who are you going to call?
The Scooby-Doo Ghostbusters seemed redundant.
Yeah.
I it didn't see, they're already doing the mystery thing. I didn't see the point there. Archie Ghostbusters
was good.
That has potential.
I did like the proposition of having the Ghostbusters be played by 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg, and 2 Lil Waynes.
Yeah. Oh, and Lil Wayne, what a bargain that was going to be when he agreed to play both roles, but for only half the money. That was just... That's going to be a great film.
But I definitely think that we have there are enough for, I mean, how many scripts have we got? Let's say we could maybe cut that in half.
Right, yeah.
The ones we have. So that's...
Yeah, that's okay, so that's like 86 Ghostbusters movies
that's 86,
that we're looking at?
86 Ghostbusters movies. My main issue with that is Sony doesn't want to stagger any of them.
Ooh.
I don't think we can get away with releasing worldwide 86 Ghostbusters films on the same day.
Maybe we release, like, I don't know, 20 per market?
Maybe 20 per market. Maybe, I think some could do with maybe a limited run. You know, Top Hat, Ghostbusters, a couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, and that's, I mean, really, that's not going to play anywhere outside of the United Kingdom. So
Not at all. Strips of canvas Ghostbusters. A day or two.
That got greenlit?
I like it. It's a touching script.
I mean, some are very regional as well, like Soviet Busters. We just open it up in Russia.
That's
Case
true.
closed.
We can do some of that.
Well, and we got to put that into the Ukraine too. I mean, it's just to get ahead of the curve. We got to make plans for that.
Yeah. Our demographics tell us that various European countries will like poo-poo Ghostbusters. The ones that are poo-poos.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's mostly going to be the German market, but there's a limited release in some art house theaters in France, Italy, and Greece. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Smelly poo-poo. Folks, I have fantastic news today. This is a breakthrough, not just for FistShark marketing, but for one of our most troubled clients.
Ooh, who's that?
I am talking, of course, about Dustin Diamond.
No!
Now, I know what you're thinking. Getting him a job is almost like... It's our industry's version of the Holy Grail. It's easier to employ an outed pedophile half the time. I can get Jeffrey Jones work. It's not good work, but I can get him work. This dude's been difficult, but we finally have done it. And even better... he's still working in the medium of television where he belongs.
Well, now, that's just in defiance of what all the critics would have said. Like, nobody ever thought that Dustin Diamond would work in television again. That is amazing. So what's the role?
It's more of a behind-the-camera gig. He's
okay.
He's very excited about it. Basically, what it is working on television is stressful, okay?
Certainly. A lot of deadlines, a lot of changes that need to be made. Actors can be difficult. Dealing with directors, production studios. It's a mess.
Exactly. And no one feels pressure more than the director, who, of course, has to oversee everything, has to make sure cameras are in the right place, the actors know what they're doing. They are the conductor of the orchestra that is television. Now, where Dustin comes in is he provides some relief to that stress. If at any point during filming the director becomes too agitated to feel like he could work properly and doesn't want to take it out on his crew, on his actors, wants to get that frustration vented, that's where Dustin comes in. His role on set is essentially to be called for when needed for the director to punch in the face.
So, Dustin is essentially the Craig of the film industry, with the exception that I'm assuming he actually gets paid.
Well, funnily enough, this is exactly how we stumbled upon the idea, because I don't know if any of you know this, but I have been leasing Craig to television studios for that express purpose, to be punched in the face, in the gut, in one of his testicles, you know, wherever the director feels like punching. But most directors did not want to apply the surgical gloves needed to punch him first, because no one wants to touch Craig. He's got a very clammy face. His forehead in particular is often sticky, usually covered in open wounds, some of which weep. And directors just don't want to punch that. And when they're het up and they're in the mood to punch something, they don't want to potentially lose that rage, that productive rage, putting on the triple layered latex gloves. So...
Well, it's another step. They're busy people. The whole point of this is so that they can quickly move on to the next thing.
Exactly. Craig, bless his heart, is not efficient. You know, here, in executive downtime, we can take the moments needed. We can bring tools and ropes. We can deal with Greg as needs dealing. Someone on set, someone under pressure, they need someone who can get in quick, get punched, thank them for it, and then go back into the green room until they're needed again. That's where Dustin comes in. He's happy to do it. Most directors are happy to do it. Most directors, especially ones who have worked with him, say he deserves it. Dustin Diamond says he deserves it. It's a win-win situation.
So how does Dustin feel about this whole endeavor? I mean, I'm assuming he's happy he's getting, a paid job, but...
Yes, a paid job and payback. He's not going to punch himself in the face. I've seen him try. He flinches and deflects at the last moment. Here, the responsibility of being punched in the face goes to somebody else. Dustin gets a hot meal and pay. He gets up to 15 shillings a whack and goes to bed able to sleep at night knowing that he's paid off the debt of being Dustin Diamond.
Wow. I never really thought Dustin Diamond was repentant in any way whatsoever for his actions. This actually makes me like him a little bit more. I think this is working. This could be a real career builder for Dustin.
Not only is he repentant, he's a more introspective man than you might believe. He's a deep man, a philosophical man, as anybody who's heard his acoustic version of Wonderwall can attest.
I mean, I had always just assumed that Dustin was angry at other people for his failures as an actor. I mean, the knife waving, I guess all this time he was just trying to hurt himself.
That's more or less it. He has developed this odious personality. This sort of detestable, Dirty Sanchez giving, knife waving, Paul Gossier accusing personality, in a way to hurt himself, because he understands, perhaps more than anybody else, that he's Dustin Diamond.
Ugh. I mean, just the thought of being Dustin Diamond, I'm actually sympathetic now. Towards the man.
I can already see your left hand twitching towards your neck as you imagine being him and want to strangle yourself.
It's true. I'm looking for a knife, and thank God I don't have one, because I would be in need of serious medical attention. This is a dark place that you've put me in, Jim. It's a very dark place.
Conrad, let's not go back there. Let's reel it in.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm not Dustin Diamond, and actually. Okay, I feel a whole lot better.
The great tragedy of Dustin Diamond is he is Dustin Diamond, so nobody else has to be.
He's Dustin Diamonding for the sins of the world, you could say.
Yeah, indeed. He is on a metaphorical and literal crucifix.
Yeah, has anybody checked in on him, by the way? Is he still there?
I really should. They were not clean nails.
Where are you keeping him on this crucifix?
It's in the parking lot.
FistShark Marketing is Jim Sterling, Conrad Zimmerman, and Caitlin Cook. Theme music by Ben Rama. Segue music by Alizar Chan. Our editor is Nick Malone. Get more episodes and learn how to help support the show at FistShark.com. Follow us on Twitter at FistShark for more of our exploits. Complaints can be forwarded via email to fistsharkmarketing@aol.com. And remember, the meek shall inherit the earth. Or, at least, whatever's left when the rest of us are done with it. Goodbye.